Hi everyone, it's Nina Yang with Waffle Flower Crafts. We're introducing a bunch and congrats stamps and dies today. These sets works great together and we'll share with you some more ideas on how to use them. And you can see the tiny twine bow we had there. We have a bunch stamp set for you to color with, but we also have those solid images in case you need some quick cards. As you can see on the set, we have the 3 flowers and 1 stamp. And that's also how our die is made. So when you line it up, you can just stamp all 3 flowers and die cut them all at once. But they will be die cut into 3 different flowers so you can arrange them into a different position that you like. You can also cut the stamp, into 3 parts if you want. But I'm usually just stamp it once and just leave it there. I'm positioning the solid images on the stamped outlines. I'm using the Fiskars stamp press, which has a grid. Can you see that I'm actually lining up the bottom of the grids to the bottom of the card? So when I come back and stamp on it, I know exactly where I need to stamp. Line it up to get a perfect offset. I'm trying to be careful here because I really wanted to have the whole image moving in the same direction that give it a very uniform look. Nice, right? I'm leaving the rest of the card simple by stamping a sentiment in black. You can find the finished card in the intro post linked below. I'm going to use white pigment ink on the solid stamps, so I want to make sure they're clean. That's why I'm using the stamp cleaner and the stamp scrubber to remove any ink that could be reactivated by the pigment ink. I'm using stamp layering with white pigment ink technique. You first stamp white pigment ink on craft paper and then you stamp on top of it while offsetting a little to create a 3D look. For this technique to work, you need to have inks that stamp and dry like dye inks. That's exactly how our chalk inks work. So I'm just lining it up, offsetting a little bit. Isn't it cool? And here's the fun technique I want to show you today. Instead of stamping the outline, I'm going to die cut the outline for these flowers and leaves. I heard that you can bend the dies back and forth a few times to separate them, so that's exactly what I did. I don't like the little tabs sticking out, so I probably go back and file them off. Now, just line them up. I think it's going to look great. I found that if my washi tape is too sticky, when I run it through my die cut machine, sometimes it picks up part of the stamped image, which is not what I want. So I'm removing the stickiness by sticking it to my skin first. Now I'm going to run it through my die cut machine. So cute. Let's put them on a card. I arranged the flower a little bit on white card base and adhere them down. And instead of stamping the sentiment, I die cut the sentiment congrats using a congrats word die from craft cardstock. This way, it actually brings out the craft base for the flowers and leaves. So let's see how it looks. I'm thinking it looks a little plain right now. I know, why doesn't I have a plan, right? But I just wanted to show you guys the real process that I have. My cards always start plain and could be ugly. But the fun part of paper crafting card making is that you can always take or add to make the project to your liking. I'm mounting this panel to a A2 size top folding craft card base. I'm thinking there's something that needs to be down there. So yes, our dolly square die. Yeah, that looks cute, isn't it? I'm just thinking that it's actually a little too long in the bottom of it, so I'm going to cut it out. I had all the pieces cut out and trimmed and adhered to the card base, and then found out I forgot to stamp the flower centers. So I quickly stamped them out. Now we have 3 cards, but I'm going to have a separate video for the card on the right because it involves stamping, die cutting, a little bit watercolor, and it's just a lot going on the card, even though it looks quite simple. I hope you enjoyed today's video. There's giveaways and more inspiration on the blog. Thank you for watching. Bye!